Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you're in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm really grateful to you for subscribing, commenting, giving me all this love. I really appreciate it. And in this one, I wanted to speak to you a little bit about impulsivity and how ADHD, obviously ADHD people have been told over and over again, informed over and over again that, I'm constantly told, I've been told by my family, by everyone around me, you're so impulsive. Like, why are you like this? Why can't you step back and take a little bit of time to decide things? Why do you just jump into things like that? Why are you, it's kind of presented to me, impulsivity, as a negative trait. And, for the longest time, I did believe that. I did believe that I was impulsive and that's a negative thing. I should really stop that. It was a huge part of my personality, but I was told over and over again to cut that part off. And as you can imagine, it was impossible. It's like kind of cutting off a limb. It was a really big part of who I was, my impulsivity or my spontaneity, which is how I like to look at it. I'm very spontaneous. But again, it was always kind of framed as something that I should really stop doing. Now, as an individual, as an ADHD person with ADHD, I have to say that my impulsivity has served me really well in my life. Now, I know it's not the best trait to have, yes. And in a lot of ways, I sometimes look back and I'm like, well, I should have thought about that a little bit more before I jumped into it. But in every single case, I have not regretted the things I've jumped into ever again. I might do them and then the results are positive or negative, or mostly positive actually. Because you can always, even if you make a decision, you can always kind of tweak a little bit, or you can kind of move it in the direction you want, or, you'll get more information once you make a decision, and then you can kind of use that information to make a better decision. And so I've always noticed that my impulsivity, the decisions I make while I've been impulsive, have always resulted in something good in my life, right? Now, the reason I'm saying this is because, as a person with ADHD, as I said, we've constantly been told, stop being impulsive. And so what happens is that we kind of cut off this huge part of our personality, a huge part of how we make decisions. And then we get stuck in analysis paralysis. We get stuck in this mode of we can't take another step, we can't make another move, we can't do anything in our lives because we don't want to be impulsive. We're so afraid of jumping into things that we hold ourselves back. And that means that we get stuck in this one position, unable to go forward, backwards, sideways, anywhere. We're just sitting there because we're like, oh, I'm not sure. How am I even supposed to make a decision if I'm not going to jump into things? Now, the problem with this is there's an essential core idea behind this whole impulsivity that's missing a key argument, missing a key ingredient. Basically, people forget that people with ADHD, their brains work extremely fast. I'm not saying this to brag or to say, oh wow, look at me, I'm so smart. No, it is just the way it is. Our brains just move at the speed of light. We will make a decision really fast because our brains move really fast. It's making all of these connections, making all of these things, bringing all these things together, all of these decision-making tools together in an instant to build a decision that's right for you. It seems like we're being impulsive. It seems like in that moment we're just jumping into things. Yes. But actually our brains, our minds, our subconscious have been working on it for a while probably. We don't just think one day, hey, I'm going to start a business. Maybe it's been congealing in our head for a while because we saw a video about someone who started a business, and that kind of planted that seed in our head, and it's been thinking about it unconsciously, subconsciously. And suddenly we get up one morning, we're like, I'm going to start a business. And from every perspective, whenever you look at it, whoever looks at it, is they're looking at it and thinking, hey, man, stop for a second. You can't just get up one day and decide you're going to start a business. You need to think about it. You need to do this, that. You need to work on it a bit. And then for a person with ADHD, they're like, I've already thought about it. And this is a decision I came up with. So those are the two things that I think negate the fact that it's an impulsive decision. Impulsivity says that we made a decision at the spur of the moment, in that moment, and then we just ran with it. Even if you do that, I really feel like unless you're kind of putting your life in danger, like you decide, oh, I'm going to jump off a plane, even then, like, there's lots of protective measures in place, you're fine. Like, I can't imagine any impulsive decision, like, even if you like, oh, I'm going to marry this person, and you get married, you can get a divorce, it's fine. The only thing I can think of is impulsively having a baby. That could be something that could be like, well, you're going to ruin that baby's life if you make an impulsive decision without thinking about it. But really, that takes a while. You can't just get impulsively pregnant, right? You have to kind of go through the procedures, like have sex and all that stuff. And then, like, you know, not every sexual encounter results in a pregnancy, right? And so I can't think of any decision that can't be reversed or can't be modified so that it becomes a good decision rather than something that is not right for you, right? Harmful to you. So I really can't think of any decision that would be harmful, right? You make the decision, you're like, okay, I'm going to start a business. Yeah, but you're not starting a business right now. You still have to build a business over time, which means that you have to do all of these different things, like write a business plan. You have to, you know, save some money if you or get a loan, things like that. I mean, it takes time to set things up. You could impulsively invest into something, but again, a lot of places give you 10 days or 7 days to change your mind where you can get your money back if it's a legal enterprise. Of course, there are illegal enterprises, but consumer reports, consumer services, if you live in a Western country, will probably protect you. Maybe not in the Eastern world, maybe not in India, or, you know, in Thailand perhaps, but mostly you're protected. So you can change your mind and say, hey, I'm sorry, I made a wrong decision, I want my money back. So if I'm just thinking, like, for myself, a lot of times when I was like, hey, I'm impulsively going to do something, it wasn't actually impulsively. It seemed impulsive from the outside because I wasn't talking about it. We don't talk about our decision-making process. We don't say, hey, so I've started thinking about this thing and now I'm going to think about it for the next 6 months and then I'm going to make a decision all of a sudden and then go for it. And it's going to seem impulsive from the outside, but it's actually not impulsive. I actually made the decision with a lot of care. This is something that a lot of people think about me, and I'm like, well, you don't know what's going on in my head. Also, you have no idea how fast my brain works and how fast I can come up with these things. Like, the reason I can do these vlogs without a script, without actually any idea what I'm going to say, I literally have an idea of like, okay, I'm going to talk about impulsivity, and I just go for it. The only reason I can do it is because my brain works so fast and it's able to put out these thoughts and pull it all together in such a fast fashion, right? Like, that's the only way. Otherwise, I'd be like stumbling over my words and thinking about it, and I'd be like, oh, what do I say next? But that doesn't happen because, again, an ADHD brain just moves rapidly, or just at the speed of light sometimes it feels. I look at something and instantaneously have an idea of what I want to do with it, how I want to go about it, and where I want to go, right? And instantaneously have all this information intuitively as well, because our intuition is very powerful. Intuitively get all this information about a place and not know where it came from, right? Because we're tapping into a deeper source. And so I really wanted to do this video, not because I want to be like, hey, just go and make all the impulsive decisions you want. No, I'm saying that you, in fact, are not actually making impulsive decisions, really, if you think about it. You're actually not. If you really put your mind to it and you really think about it, like, what am I actually doing? Yeah, you're not actually. Your brain's probably, in a lot of cases, thought about this for a while now already, and suddenly you get up and say, hey, maybe I should start a clothing brand. How did that thought even come into your head? You might have watched a video a few days ago, and then your brain's been thinking about it, your subconscious has been thinking about it, and then you start a clothing brand. Now, what is starting a clothing brand? You just can't jump into it. You might put some effort into it. You might do some research for a few days and realize, hey, maybe this is not for me. Is that an impulsive decision, or is it just research? Is it just trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't? We are such multidimensional beings that we have so many things that we could potentially do. And this is what ADHD people are always trying to figure out. Does this fit me? Does this box fit me? No, actually, I tried it. I don't like it. Okay, cool. That's done. And now I don't have to think about it. Does this other box fit me? Yeah, actually, it does a little bit. Let me go further into it. You know what? At this point, I'm done with it. It doesn't fit me anymore. All right, discard, right? And so from the outside, it seems like I'm just jumping from one thing to another. But what we're actually doing is we're trying out all these different outfits, different ways of being, and realizing what doesn't work for us and what does. A lot of times I'll move to a country with lots of great hopes and be like, oh my God, this is going to be so great. And then within the month, I'm like, yeah, no, actually, no. And so I move out, and everyone, all my family members are like, oh my God, you moved there with such high hopes, and what happened? Like, I thought you were going to stay there, like you're some impulsive, la la. They don't understand that it was just me trying out a new outfit, trying out a new way of being, or trying out a new boom, right? And that boom did not fit me very well. She might have fit someone else, but not me. And so I am discarding it. Just like you try on outfits, or it's a different persona. You're just trying on different personas to see what fits. It's also a little bit due to our social awkwardness, because we don't read social cues. We need to try things out. We need practical experience in order to understand things. I can never understand things if someone just tells me about it. I have to try it out. Like, if you show me how to crochet, or if you tell me how to crochet, I'll look at it and be like, I have no idea. My brain can't comprehend it. It's literally like magic to me. But once I just do it once or twice, instantaneously my brain's able to assimilate it, understand it, and really make sure that it ingrains it into my soul, into my being. So practical experience is very important for us, which means we're always trying new things out. That might seem like impulsivity. That might seem from the outside like we are not thinking about things and just jumping into things. But I really don't think that's what's happening, because I'm looking at myself and the way I behave, the way I move through the world, the way I make my decisions, and all of it, it's a little bit spontaneous, yes, for sure, might from the outside seem very impulsive, but every decision I've made has turned out really well. It has been no regrets bar, like no hold bar, no regrets. I live my life the way I want, and I'm doing things the way I want. And whenever I make a wrong decision, I just change. I pivot, I go into the different direction. And in 99.9% of the cases, I would say I've never had any negative repercussions from the decisions I've made. So why is it considered a negative trait to try different things out? Why? Why do we have to live by one mold for the rest of our life and pretend like we're happy? I don't understand. So I really don't think it's a negative trait. I've never looked at my impulsivity, my spontaneity as a negative trait. I think it's brilliant. I want to keep on being like this. I love that part of me. It gives me so much joy to just pick up one day and like do the things I want to do, or get up one day and be like, I'm going to go try rock climbing today, or whatever it might be. And it's just fun to be me. It's just fun to be this kind of impulsive, spontaneous person. Now, of course, I have a very different lifestyle from other people, so I can do it. Perhaps other people cannot be as impulsive, as spontaneous. But I really don't think that if you look at it as a negative thing, it's going to turn into a negative thing. I look at my trait of impulsivity as a very positive thing, and it always turns out to be a positive for me. It always turns out to be good for me, the decisions I make, rather than negative or bad or harmful. So I really just wanted to share this with you. I hope this helps. Again, I hope that you will look at your impulsivity as nature, that nature that you have, as a positive, as something that you can use to explore more of the world rather than a negative. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.